So divinity is infinite and all-pervading and formless. And I think we really need to emphasize that in today's world, because so much of this "I don't believe in God" has to do with God having a particular form. Divinity is essentially formless, and its essence. And when we give divinity a particular definition is when there's conflicts between us about what divinity is. And it's also when we start to fail to understand how vast and beautiful and infinite divinity is. But that same divinity manifests in pretty much everything we see, hear, taste, touch. And so earlier today, I was doing the class with the kids, and to make them understand that something that is formless can manifest in different ways. I asked them, love is formless, and how does it manifest? And interestingly, they couldn't come up with too many answers. How does my love manifest? Of course, hugging, kissing, generally affection, right? So motherly love might be you stroke the kid's head. Could also be tickling, could be teasing, could also be you scolding the kid. That's also manifestation of love. Fighting for the freedom of a country, also manifestation of love. So that one love can manifest in so many different ways. So divinity too manifests in so many different ways. And Navratri especially is the celebration of divinity manifesting as matter and energy. Because the first place we see Devi, or the feminine representation of divinity, is Mother Earth. Even before we call her Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati, Sita, it's universal. Whether you see the Native American tradition, whether you see the Egyptian tradition, whether you see the Greek mythology, Earth is mother and Earth is revered as mother. It's not just Mother Earth and then discard it. It's something we honor, it's something we respect, it's something we worship, and that's universal. And so that feminine aspect of divinity as mother, represented as Mother Earth, gives us a lovely space to start in terms of talking about motherhood. But I just want to emphasize that this festival of Navratri, in celebrating the divine and in the feminine aspect, is the divide that is made is Shiva and Shakti, or the words used are Purusha and Prakriti. Some of you may be familiar with the words and some of you may not. And the word Purusha can get translated as man, and it can get translated as masculine, but actually when it gets translated as man, it's human. Yeah? And here, when it's used as pure Purusha and Prakriti, it's talking about that first, like the creator, which isn't a person, but it has that sense of masculine. And then Prakriti has the sense of feminine, and it's all of creation. So even if you see us, body is matter, Prakriti. Our feelings, the mind, feels, emotions is energy. Our emotions are definitely energy. Our thoughts, our thinking is energy. And energy is nothing but matter in a different form. And so all of who we think we are, body, mind, intellect, is energy, a matter, Prakriti. And then, but none of it would work without the life force within us. So something makes the body work. Something makes the heart and the mind be able to feel. Something empowers us to be able to think. And then that's that divinity. So divinity expressing as matter is being worshipped as Devi, is this festival of Navratri. Still divinity. But the beautiful thing here is it manifests as absolutely everything. And sometimes we fail to see that. Sometimes we fail to see just how much of earth or divinity, we're just constantly using. So even something like we're constantly on our mobile phones, what's the mobile phone made up of? It's not a trick question. Even the kids, the kids said WhatsApp, YouTube. It's made up of metal, then plastic, then copper, then silicon. Yeah. Where's metal from? The earth. Where's plastic from? Where's the copper from? Where's silicon from? Just absolutely everything comes from earth. I can't understand why that's such a wild concept. Like, where else would it come from? And so Mother Earth is literally absolutely everything we have. Even when we talk about wealth, gold comes from earth. Diamonds come from earth. We print paper to make money, it comes from earth. Yeah, silver, everything that's valuable comes from earth. And then even if we think about Wi-Fi, I actually don't know how Wi-Fi works, but sound, right? Sound vibrations, which can exist only in space, space within. The element of space is what makes Earth. And electricity. Electricity comes from water, sun, and one more thing. It does come from one more thing, doesn't it? Anyway, elements of earth. So even the energy we have comes from earth. The resources we have come from earth. And so in Navratri, we're really celebrating that God manifests as anything and everything we need. That idea of we so looked after. Because what do we need? It comes from earth. It's already there for us. And even, I mean, of course, we think of food. The minute we think earth nourishes us, we think of food, but we forget everything else. We forget that we don't live so much on food as we do Wi-Fi anymore. And even that's earth, right? Or even any beauty routine that we do to straighten the hair, to curl the hair, to cut the hair, to whatever, dye the hair, all those ingredients that we use to even not, it's not even a necessity, it's a desire. It's a added, sometimes superficial, sometimes just, chill mood. It's fun, something different. Even the desires that we fulfill, to fulfill that desire, whatever it is we need, comes from earth. And earth is mother. So this concept of providing what we need is that divine mother. And the thing is, it's provided even before we need it, which is the really phenomenal thing about the divine mother, right? Like I remember once Guruji gave the example that when a baby is born, they don't have teeth. And so required sustenance is mother's breast milk is enough. And then slowly teeth start coming. And then they start eating everything else, solids or not so solid, but. And then those teeth aren't strong enough to last their whole life. So they'll fall off. And they won't all fall off at the same time. Because if they did, how would the kid eat? And even before the milk teeth fall off, the proper permanent teeth have already started growing underneath. So when the child's old enough to need the nutritions from food that requires chewing, the preparation for the teeth have already been made. Like, we don't think of that. When they're so small and they babies, teeth would hurt them. Teeth would hurt the mother who's feeding them. And so everything is made soft. And then when they're old enough, only then do they get the permanent teeth that are resilient. Provides for us, even without us knowing, or without us even understanding. That's how Mother Nature works. We don't even know we're going to need it. Sometimes we have it and we didn't even know how it got there. And so much of our bodily functions are like that. We don't know it's working, but it's working. We only find out when it stops. That, oh, it was doing this job for so many years, I didn't notice. And so much of the mother's role is like that. I know when I started teaching and I started working with children, I was fairly young when I started working with children. I was about 14. But they're not aware of so much. And they take so much for granted. And they're oblivious to how much adults sacrifice for them. Like sometimes I'll hear a parent saying, they should appreciate that I didn't go to work, I took off leave, I did this. And I'm like, they have no clue you did all that. They don't have that maturity to understand how much has been sacrificed for me to turn up at their birthday party. They just expect us to be at the birthday party. And I think that first time I realized this, that had the kids clueless as to how much goes on for us to be present, for us to pamper them, for us to educate them, for us to keep them safe. Oh my gosh, I know when I do Balvihar camps or even when I take groups to India, how much we prepare to make sure they're safe. They haven't a clue. They'll whinge and complain the whole time they are with me. I think that's the first time I realized how much my mom would have done for me. I'm sure all of you would have had that experience as well. When the kids come along, you think, oh, this is what my parents did for me. But I think also that's when I had that moment of how much the divine is doing that we're so oblivious to. We're just so oblivious to it. We're still kids in that sense. Often people come and tell me challenges that they are going through. And I say this without the least judgment, because when we're going through a challenge, we really do feel it's the most overwhelming or the most difficult thing that we have to go through. I totally understand that. And so often, even while they're telling me the story, I can see so many blessings, but they're not able to see it. They're seeing the difficulty, which is there, right? And to feel challenged by your difficulty is very, very valid. But sometimes it's good for us to know we're still that kid that doesn't realize how much is being done to keep us safe and provide for us what we don't even realize we need. And the more we imbibe that, the more we start to see it, the more we start to see how we're being looked after, just by remembering it. So, Divine Mother is this amazing, the sense of nurturing is seamless, it's effortless, and it's not at all dependent on me acknowledging it or me appreciating it. And I know this is a huge ask for all of us as women to live up to this, but it's really nice to set our bar so high. Right? Only when we reach for the sun do we get to the moon. So it's nice to set our bar so high. So coming back to us and motherhood as this, the more we understand the Divine Mother, the more, not even if I need not be a mother, just as a woman to manifest that divinity in a feminine form. But as the topic is motherhood, I will focus a little bit more on it. So again, I asked the kids in class, why do we call it Mother Earth? Why is Earth given the sense of mother? And the first reason is she homes us. Literally the way the mother homes the baby in the womb. I think in the scriptures, the earth is literally described as a womb. One place it's described as a womb, and in one place it's described as a golden egg, which is similar. As right? We're inside this egg laid by the Divine Mother. And so earth is the sense of giving a home is very much a part of what a mother is. I had gone traveling with Guruji, and I was away for 2.5 months with Guruji in America. And it was a phenomenal experience. But the bit I want to tell you was, when I left, it was a very long flight from America back to Australia. I forget how many hours it was. And I was exhausted. When I got home, Mom picked me up from the airport. It was during working hours. I think my siblings were at school. Dad was at the office. And of course, the first thing you have to do is ring Guruji and say you landed safely. And so when I said, I'm home and I'm fine, he said, so you met everyone? And I said, no, nobody's home. He said, what do you mean? Who picked you up? And I said, Ma picked me up. If your mother's home, how you can say nobody's home? If your mother's home, that's all you need. Was literally what Guruji said. And I've heard him say elsewhere, it's the mother that makes the home. And it's really nice to see dads getting more and more involved in today's world, because it is part of their responsibility to make home whole. But it starts with mom. The feeling of home really does start with mom. It can definitely be dad, but because of the womb, it starts with mom. And so, do they feel at home? And how much they feel at home is a good indication. So sometimes our kids are scared of us. And then other times they'll tell us anything, or maybe different kids. But the idea of mother is home is safe. I can tell anything. And so you're just talking from my own, and there's no right. And if they're not telling you everything and they're scared of you, that's a type of relationship which has its own merits. But when do we tell anything? When will they just say whatever they want to say? When they're not scared of the judgment they're going to receive from us. When are we safe to say whatever we want to say? When we're not scared of that judgment. So I'm going to take a slight detour here and talk about, if I forget to come back to this point, please remind me of this fear of being judged. So what else makes Mother Earth mother is that interesting when the baby is in the womb, it takes all the resources, all the nutrients, all the vitamins from the mother. So I remember somebody telling me this, that if there is a shortage of a particular vitamin in your body when you are pregnant, it goes to the baby and you're left with none. Which is why the first thing you do when you're pregnant is take supplements. And after having the baby, take supplements, because anything good in your body goes straight to the baby. I thought, how unfair. Shouldn't the mom get something? But that's how nature's made, which is in itself interesting, right? That and the quality of motherhood here is you just give. I'm left with nothing else. Doesn't matter. We just give, and we can expand on this if time permits. And then once the baby is born, so in the womb, this idea of food comes from mother. Mother is food, comes from mother, and the mother is just giving. And then once the baby is born as well, of course now we have milk powder and all the rest of it, but it used to be breast milk. That was the only source of food. And that too, still, even at this stage, all your vitamins go into the breast milk. You don't get, unless there's enough left after the milk is made, then you get those vitamins. Otherwise, it all goes into the breast milk. And amazing how breasts get heavy when the child gets hungry. So made to give. The whole concept of mother is give. So this is actually something every mother already knows, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the subtle aspect. So again, I live a life where many people come and tell me things that are happening in their lives that are challenging. And our train of thinking seems to be, difficulty has come my way, and to solve my problem, I need to take the solution. I need to get the solution. I need to acquire something. So the simplest example, if I don't have money, then get money. Or sometimes it can be something more like, you and I are fighting, and so I need to get maybe attention from you because you're not giving me enough attention, or I need to get approval from you because I feel you don't respect me enough, or I need to get you to agree with my point of view. So I have to take from you something to solve my problem. So problem comes, and then I feel I need to take. So let's say my fight is with you, and interestingly, when the two of us are fighting, I'll be insecure about a fair few things, you'll be insecure about a fair few things, and that's why we're fighting. So now what do I want to take from you? Your point of view. You have to agree with my point of view. Let's say I succeed. I've taken it from you. I won. Is my problem over? This is not a trick question. It's not, right? Why? Why is my problem not over? Do you all think my problem's over? You all have all been in this situation countless number of times already.
Yes.
Momentarily, I feel victorious.
Yes.
Yes. And then next day?
Because you're relying on someone else for that.
Not even so much that I'm relying on you to agree with me. Now that I have taken something from you, what's my problem? Really? It's not logical? It's not obvious? Yeah, sometimes. Huh?
You have to give something back.
No, I don't have to give something back, but you'll 100% want something. If I've taken something from you, are you happy? then how can I and you be
You
okay?
feel guilty.
Not even me feel guilty. See, I want to be happy. You and I are fighting. To be happy, I take something from you. Are you and I good now?
No.
So how can I be happy?
Because the other person is not happy.
Yeah. I can't be happy, right? You and I are not good. I succeeded. I took.
You want.
I won.
Would that be ego?
Doesn't matter what it is. Point is, I'm not happy. Why did I fight with you? Why did I take from you? I wanted to be happy. I wanted us to be good. But we're not good because you are not going to be happy with me taking from you. But we do this in everything. We try and fix our problems by taking. I'll give you another very easy to understand example. I'm very tired. I take the day off, go and sit in the spa. We do this? Does it solve our problems? The spa is really nice. Don't take away the spa from me.
But you'll get tired again.
We're gonna get tired, but we take. What I'm trying to show you is that our solution to problems is usually to take. But taking doesn't solve our problems. Taking only causes deficiency in the other person and they hold it against us. The solution is actually giving the thing we want. If I want attention from you, actually there's no need for me to ask you for it. I should give you attention. If I want praise from you, I should give you praise. If I want patience from you, I should give you patience. But we tend not to do this. We tend to want to take. And we've conditioned ourselves to think this way. And society conditions us to think this way. And we aggravating this thinking because we now have mental health days. Take days for yourself. We have, all this, that so much we'll hear about. You need to love yourself first. People don't even understand what that means. I'm not saying don't love yourself. Please do. But do we even know what that means? Do we know how to? The very essence of motherhood is giving. The earth is constantly giving. Everything we need, earth gives us. Baby in womb, everything baby needs, mother gives. I know not consciously, but I'm showing you that's mother's nature's way of showing us what motherhood is. And so when we hear this, when we hear that the essence of motherhood is giving, we think, then what about me? We feel we'll be left with nothing. Literally like the vitamin situation. We think we're going to be left with nothing. Most of you who are mothers, don't y'all recover from that? Fairly soon also, right? In the Indian tradition, I don't know how many of you do it, but after pregnancy, there's this whole ritual of things you have to eat and massages that you have to have. It's replenishing. Immediately. Baby comes out immediately. Mother is feeding you sesame seeds and gur and this vitamin and that vitamin and that. You're like, I don't want to eat it, and she's stuffing it down your throat. Why? Replenishing. And who's replenishing? Other women. For those 9 months, you gave everything, but you're not left alone. Not in the way traditionally it was. We live in concrete jungles now a little bit, but otherwise the whole village came to look after the lady after she was pregnant. The whole village came to look after the baby also. Both were looked after. I know we still do it, a little bit less organically. Now it's a little bit all structured with Excel sheets, but we still do it. That very thought, what about me, goes against the grain of motherhood. It doesn't occur in the natural occurrence. When love is flowing in your motherly sense, you would never have that thought, what about me? The thought, what about me, comes when we are afraid or when we angry. When do we get angry? When we're not getting what we want. Then we get angry. And then that thought will come, but what about me? Why should I only give? This question will only arise when we're angry or when we're scared. When do we get scared? When there's some kind of danger. What do we perceive as danger usually in this kind of a setting of motherhood or relationships? There's not enough. So if you got, I'm going to be left with less. And so that feeling of I'm not going to get causes fear, which causes the thought, what about me? So firstly, is there less? Does the earth have less resources? 7 billion of us here. Is there less love? This is a trick question. Is there less attention? Is there less patience? Is there less praise? Is there less gratitude, respect? If we think there is, we will behave that way. And we will want to take. If we understand there isn't, we'll be happy to give because I'll still have. In the ashram, so much food comes to the ashram. And then sometimes I'll give somebody, especially fruits, because I don't eat it. And very often they'll say, I can't eat yours. And I'll be like, please, please eat mine. Why? Because I have so much. I will very happily give when I know I have plenty. Now, sometimes it might not physically be here, but in my experience, it'll come. So even though they might not be physically a lot in the ashram at that given point in time, I will still happily give it. Because I am 100% confident it'll come. 22 years of experience. Really, it comes. Not just food. So many things. Randomly, people will bring computer stands and, oh, I needed that. Cleaning things, all sorts of things. What we need comes. That's why I said when we are aware that God is constantly manifesting and looking after us more than we even know, then we become aware of how much we're being looked after and we can see it in our lives. And we're happy to give. And so this is the essence of motherhood is giving. Why? Because the solution to every problem is not to take. The solution to every problem is to give. which seems counterintuitive to us in today's world because we're really conditioned to give. But traditionally, that we weren't conditioned to take. Traditionally, we were conditioned to give. So we've gotten confused with Western culture, Eastern culture. We've gotten confused with modernization and industrialization and social media. But if you go back to when a child was born, what did the family do? Give. Every birthday, what did we do? Give. In Diwali, what do we do? Give. During marriage ceremonies, what do we do? Give. How do we celebrate as the Indian culture? Never ever in a single celebration do we take. Absolutely every celebration we give. Actually, maybe God Bara is the one exception. When a woman is pregnant, she takes. You fill her a pallu. She literally sits with her pallu like this and you fill it up with all the gifts. Why? Because she's giving already so much, right? And also that's the rule. So why do we celebrate by giving? Because the rule is two rules. What we give is what we get. And the more we give, the more we get. So if I really want to celebrate and I really want to get, what do I have to do? But this is important. What should I give? Because in today's world, we'll give money. Please give, especially to ashram. Then that's what we'll get. But what do we want? Love, kindness, loyalty, commitment, honesty. Those are the things we want. So those are the things we have to give. And then the more we give of it, the more it comes into our lives. And what really helped me personally with giving is when I understood that if I feel threatened by you, 90% of the time, you are threatened by me. When I feel insecure because of you, 90% of the time, you feel insecure because of me. When I am angry with you, pretty much, you are angry with me. When I feel you are being unfair, pretty much, you feel I am being unfair. There's this really beautiful book, Loving What Is. I can't remember the author, I think it's Penny. Where she says, write down what you're feeling. So, I hate when you are late. Right? Simple sentence. Now swap the I and you. You hate when I am late. Let's use another sentence. I am sad that you don't respect me. Swap the I and you. You are sad when I don't respect you. So powerful, huh? To swap I and you. I am impatient that you are not changing. When are you going to change? Swap the I and you. You are impatient that I am not changing. How beautiful is that? Everything we're feeling, usually the other person's feeling. It's so true in romantic relationships. It's also true in parent and child relationships. Maybe not to the same extent because children don't always have the maturity, but the sense of giving to the child. Means, and I know as parents you'll give. You'll give abundantly, lovingly, spontaneously. And then every now and then, we want them to be a certain way. We want the kid to be different to what they actually are. Literally, we want to change their personality. Or we want to change skill set. And it creeps in without us realizing. Not everyone, but every now and then it happens. It's like, you annoying me. Don't be like this. Don't be annoying. I actually say that in Bhavya often. Don't be annoying. They find us as annoying. Here, when we want to change them, when we want them to be other than what they are, we stop giving and we go into wanting mode. And they catch on to it very, 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 very fast. So you as a child knew straight away when your parents disapproved or didn't like what you did. If it was an action, it's fine. But when we feel they don't like me, I'm sure you remember this feeling. It's devastating. As a kid, when you feel parent doesn't like me, it's pretty much end of the world. Horrendous. And it doesn't matter how old the kid is. Now, there's lots of misinterpretations from kids, and they'll say that without you doing anything wrong. But there's times when they feel it, when we've slipped from giving to expecting. Human nature that we start to expect, because after giving, we start to expect. We just do. We are not horrible people from expecting. But the minute we start expecting from them, they sense judgment in us. And then we no longer home. They can no longer be themselves. Sometimes this is temporary. It's a big fight. Both of you cry, hug, make up, and all is good again. Sometimes we stubborn. We don't fight. We just hold it against the other person. And then we don't fight it out. We don't make up. And it stays. This is where motherhood is depicted as feminine because it's soft. Feminine is described as soft. So apparently even within our body, the left half of our body is feminine, the right half of our body is masculine. That's that picture of Ardhanarishwari that you would have seen. And as per yoga, Patanjali Sutras, the left side, which is feminine, is softer. You can practice. This will only change if you have an injury. If you have an injury on the right side becomes weaker. But otherwise, generally speaking, you will be able to hold the pose longer on the right side than the left side, just because of soft and hardness of makeup. And then it's that whole yin and yang. Of course, with length and practice, you balance it, and one side's not obviously soft and one side's not obviously hard, and you're able to integrate the two, and you're able to have both soft and hard at the same time. But soft is, okay, so hard is that pride. No, I'm not going to apologize. No, I'm right. No, why should I? That's the hard in us. And the soft is when we can let that thought go. Letting go is soft. Heart melting is soft. Hard is that holding on. So motherhood's got a lot to do with, sure, we have expectations from our kid. Who doesn't? But motherhood's letting go. The moment I become aware that I have an expectation, let that expectation go. Why? Because they're not going to be the way we want them to be, just like we're not the way our parents wanted us to be. But we turn out okay. And so will they. But sometimes in parenting, we think we have to sculpture them. So softness is letting go of that wanting to sculpture them. I've heard it beautifully said that it's like, so it's the example is given of guru, but I think it can be used for parenting as well. The guru is like a gardener, and we are like the garden. We like the garden because each one of us are different. And the guru will water and nurture the garden, and each one will grow at their own speed. Not everyone grows at the same time. And in that garden, there's going to be some pokey plants. There's going to be some who are just not as fragrant. There's going to be the ones that just bloom once and then says, nah. And as the gardener, you tend to the plant, but whatever it turns out to be, you accept. Then literally you don't know what seeds are being planted. So whatever sprouts will have its own beauty. So that's what I mean in terms of no expectation. And I totally understand that that's very, very hard to do. And that's why it's so important to ingrain that giving mindset. Right? Giving a chance, giving of attention, praise, love, point of view, helps to have that sense of they can feel home. They'll only feel we are home when we don't have that judgment. They'll only feel that we are home when we don't have that sense of, but what about me? So the wanting bit causes the anger. I want them to be a certain way. I want them to listen. I want them to be good human beings. These are sort of basic desires, right? But then I don't get it. Anger. And then the thought arises, what about me? Otherwise, that thought doesn't arise in your mind. And then the other thing is fear. And what if they turn around and hate me afterwards? What if they turn around and gossip about me? What if, because it's happened over the period of time, just about any possible scenario that exists has already happened So we've seen it in other families, we've seen it in movies, and then we get scared. Is that going to be me? Is my child going to grow up and not ever want to talk to me ever again, and just be too angry and ashamed that I'm their parent? So that fear creeps in. Again, normal. Parenting can be scary, even though, especially when they're teenagers, parenting can be really scary. Like, what are they going to turn out as? And then, in today's world, there's drugs. And then there's so much hamagama around that. And then what are they going to turn out as? And then in today's world, there's gender confusion. Hiya. Like, what are they going to turn out as? I gave birth to a male, but I really don't know. There's fear. We don't know if they will love us. Will they love us? I've made so many mistakes. I'm not perfect. The minute there's fear, the thought of, what about me, will come. Now, these are normal feelings, and they will creep in. But the moment you have that thought, what about me? Know that you've gone into fear, anger, or taking mode. And these modes cannot solve problems. Anger can never solve a problem. Fear doesn't solve problem. Taking doesn't solve. And so motherhood's essence is giving. Give what you want. So search your heart. The thing you want the most in life, give the most in life. Give your kids that the most in life. And you'll get it. Maybe not from your kids, but you will get it. I'm going to pause here. So we have weekly Balvihars. And like I said, what I taught you all today, I actually teach the kids in the Balvihar classes. Today, specifically, we spoke about Purusha and Prakriti. Today, we didn't speak about the giving, but in many of the lesson plans in Balvihar, we do speak about giving, and that's how we get about the universal principles, about the values. And so, if you haven't signed your kids up to Balvihar, please do. We also have some Diwali workshops coming up for Balvihar. So if you don't know about those, please join those. And if you're not in Hong Kong, wherever you are, there's Balvihar there as well. Or you can sign up online for the Hong Kong Balvihar. So we'll conclude. Om. Sarve bhavantu sakhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukha bhag bhave. Asato ma satkamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Namaha. Harihi Om.